Welcome to the Carl Jackson Show podcast. This is your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. My schedule has been insane, so I've taken the last couple of days off. However, we are going to be catching up on some podcasts, so look forward to release of several podcasts that should be coming out by this weekend. We're starting with this one before we get into some of the bigger news of the week. I wanted to touch on this Puff Daddy or P. Diddy issue, and I wasn't going to touch on it. Sometimes I don't necessarily avoid the cultural issues, but since I feel like America is going to hell with gasoline draws on, I've avoided some of the cultural issues because I feel like there's some bigger issues at play. I do feel like this story, and I'll tell you why, is one of those issues that I don't think we should avoid, even though it was tempting for me to move past it. And so anyway, what I'm going to do is actually Gabe has a bunch of videos lined up for you. So for those of you that are in the listening audience, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast. We're on Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, wherever you go to get it. The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find me. If you're on YouTube and Rumble and you want to see the video as well as the audio, again, please subscribe, like, share. Whatever you do there, review. We would certainly appreciate that. That helps us move up the charts. Please share this podcast with a friend, family member, or an adversary even. We don't mind. But anyway, I think this issue is important. I'll tell you some of the reasons why, but here's what I want to do. There's been a lot of videos that have surfaced of P. Diddy in the past, or people talking about P. Diddy that have resurfaced now that the FBI raided his homes in both Los Angeles and Miami yesterday. I want to talk about that specifically. I'm going to talk about P. Diddy specifically, the allegations specifically. I have an article printed out from the Daily Wire with quotes from his attorney, what his attorney had to say about the raids on his homes yesterday. So we'll get into all of that. And then I'll try to, what I'm going to do is tell you why I do think this case is important for several reasons. This isn't just me trying to be, this cultural influencer. I don't chime into these cases unless I see something that I think affects the over Americans overall. Let's put it that way. By the way, today's show is brought to you by mypillow.com. For those of you that are interested in buying American products and getting a good night's rest, go to mypillow.com. Right now, they've got Giza Dream Sheets available. I think they're $59.98 for a queen size set. $10 more for a king size set. Right now, if you go to mypillow.com and click on the promo code Carl, or type in the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L. I don't spell it like the communists, or give them a call, 800-858-0263. Peruse the entire website. They have a gang of material items there for you to purchase. All of them on discount if you use my name as the promo code. That is Carl, C-A-R-L. Or for those of you that are old school, you can give them a call, 800-858-0263. 800-858-0263, promo code Carl, C-A-R-L. All right, this is the first video. This is Cat Williams, and I want you to listen to it. Cat Williams has virtually been on a rampage. People, even conservatives, have done videos talking about Cat Williams. Is he just out to get people? Is he just jealous? Because he's not as popular as some of the comedians that are out there. And Cat Williams is very popular in and of his own right. He's his own brand. There is absolutely no doubt about it. A little Afrocentric, but very funny. His humor isn't for everybody, no doubt about it. But when I've watched him, he's been very funny. He did this comedy skit one time with Trump, and that one totally turned me off. It was just annoying. But for the most part, I've seen Cat Williams for years, liked his work for years. Some of his work is a little too graphic, to be frank. When it is, I've turned it off. But for the most part, he's a very funny guy. And I think he's a straight shooter. So here's the first video that I want you guys to see. And again, we're going to play videos back to back to back, because these are some of the videos that you guys have been watching to kind of build a case, if I can, in your mind, against P. Diddy. I'm not saying that's good or bad, but we're going to roll the tape. I'm going to offer my opinion, my bigger opinion or macro opinion on all of these videos and the whole issue or whole story after we play through all of the video and audio for those of you that are listening. Let's roll the first one. Por favor, Gabe. This is Cat Williams on P. Diddy.
I came in this business saying I was going to expose. When I talked about Michael Jackson, when I talked about R. Kelly, they canceled me for these things because why would you talk about another black dude? Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. T.G. Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
And after that, I don't really kind of know where to go. Let me one more time.
Okay, so and that's Shannon Sharp, I guess, on his podcast. And listen, he mentioned the name of T.D. Jakes, charismatic pastor of a mega church, super mega church, very popular. I have no information on T.D. Jakes, so I'm not going to comment on that. Otherwise, I don't know. But apparently, Cat Williams believes there's something there. I don't know. I don't know enough about that to comment on it. So we're just going to stick with Diddy and pray to God that there are no connections in that way when it comes to T.D. Jakes. All right, let's move on to the next video.
Jones lived and traveled with Diddy for 13 months. The complaint states Mr. Jones was sexually harassed and assaulted by Mr. Combs. It also states Mr. Combs required Mr. Jones to solicit sex workers. The complaint goes on to claim Diddy has hidden cameras in every room of his homes and that there are recordings of celebrities, music label executives, politicians, and athletes in compromising positions.
The number of celebrities who come up in this lawsuit who, according to this plaintiff, were involved in or have information about some of this really salacious and allegedly criminal conduct on the part of Sean Combs.
The lawsuit refers to Diddy's chief of staff as Ghislaine Maxwell, who was found guilty of recruiting underage girls for Jeffrey Epstein.
Seen these cases before with high-powered, affluent individuals. But again, at this point, these are allegations, and perhaps we will see this matter move from civil to criminal.
Earlier this year, Diddy's former longtime romantic partner, Cassie Ventura, accused him of rape, sex trafficking, and physical abuse. After Diddy settled that case, other women filed similar lawsuits. Diddy posted his "Enough is Enough" statement on Instagram.
Now, for those of you that are listening, I mean, you can't. There's pop-ups that perhaps I should read, but they're just popping up way too quick. So it's going to be easier for you to watch the podcast and read the videos yourself, or the pop-ups that are appearing on the videos. But there's allegations all the way from Prince Harry, of Sussex, being involved and being affiliated with this sex trafficking organization. There are a lot of names that have been dropped. And listen, I do want to say this before we go on to other videos. I don't know what's true. All right. I don't know what's true, but I do want to address this because I think there are bigger issues at play. I purposely titled this particular podcast, Democratic Distraction, or Did Diddy Do It? All right. So I'll get to why that's a kind of a split title. But moving forward, again, if you want to check out the video, and I think the videos are worth checking out in this particular case, and I'm not trying to do that to be, salacious or whatever. It's just, the videos add context to what I'm getting ready to talk about. Let's go to the next one. Por favor, Gabe.
Different law enforcement vehicles at least. There are 3 Bearcats on scene here. This just all unfolded, Sandra, I would say less than 10, about 30 different law enforcement vehicles at least. There are 3 Bearcats on scene here. This just all unfolded, Sandra, I would say.
Okay, I think Bearcats are these little, like, are those like bobcats? I'm not sure. Are those military style maybe they're the military style vehicles that I saw posted online. They look like big old Hummer / tank type vehicles. Maybe that's what they are. But then what you saw, I'm not sure if that is his LA residence, P. Diddy's LA residence, or his Miami residence. But you see someone being taken out by law enforcement, backed out of the location. I'm not sure who that person was as it relates to P. Diddy, but that's the type of force that went down there. I mean, obviously they had a big crew, 30 or more law enforcement, I believe federal law enforcement agents that descended on his properties. So yeah, I believe they were with the Department of Homeland Security. So anyway, that's that. All right, we got 3 more videos that I want to show you. One of Justin Bieber that has made the rounds, one of Mace that has popped up again. I'm not sure what else is there, but let's go ahead and roll them, and I will break them down as they come.
All is well with them. Have you spoken to Puff lately? Do y'all talk or what? Well, actually, we not really on speaking terms, but I still pray for the dude, and I pray that all is well with him.
Okay. Well, P. Diddy's supposed to be releasing a gospel album. What came to your mind when you heard that? What thoughts did you have?
Y'all want me to answer that?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, can RuPaul put out a gospel album?
But don't you think that everybody can express themselves?
Definitely.
And if he,
they can. You ask me, I'm just answering how.
All right, so that I almost took as a double entendre, or I'm not sure exactly how to take it. Either that is, can RuPaul put out a gospel album, as in, is P. Diddy as feminine as RuPaul, or can RuPaul put out a gospel album, as in RuPaul is defying the laws of nature and of nature's God? P. Diddy does the same thing. They're just sinners. We're all sinners, but are they sinners in that way? All right, so that was my take on that. Here's the next video. This is one that a lot of people have made hay with, and they're like, now, 2020 hindsight, what was a 40-year-old doing with a 15-year-old kid, Justin Bieber, alone and secluded somewhere, where it was just P. Diddy, Justin Bieber, and apparently a friend of Justin Bieber, although I don't know who's videotaping. So maybe there was a crew there, a film crew there. I don't know. Or maybe that's a still camera. I have no idea where he just filmed himself. Seems highly unlikely to me. But this is one video that has surfaced that a lot of people are saying, whoa, now in 2020 hindsight, did he do anything to Justin Bieber? So let's go ahead and roll this.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
Going crazy.
All right, so listen, I'm not sure what to make of that video. Gabe made a great point. The video is kind of moving, so that indicates that someone is behind the camera, trying to focus in and record the video. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, hindsight is always 2020. I saw nothing there. There's nothing that we can prove. I don't think can be proven unless Justin Bieber were to come out and say this explicitly happened to me while I was, chilling with P. Diddy as a 15-year-old boy. And I admit that seems weird in that context, but not. Here's where I struggle with that one particular video. the Boy Scouts or organizations like that where men mentor little boys. Now, obviously, if P. Diddy was involved in sexual activity with minors or any type of sex trafficking, obviously that would make me think of this a lot differently. The issue that I have is no one knows this yet. All of this is mere speculation, so I absolutely have no idea. But based upon that video, I'm not getting the same vibe, at least from that video, that others have gotten. Now, again, if Bieber comes out and says, something kind of, sleight of hand or kind of a jab at P. Diddy, I might look at that video differently. But based upon that video, and apparently that was just the beginning of the 48 hours. If there's another video that surfaced after the 48 hours was done, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see what Justin Bieber's facial reactions look like and all that kind of stuff. But as far as that's concerned, that does sound a little odd to me when you don't know the guy. But maybe he is chilling at the house with a friend. Maybe they're recording music. Maybe he's who knows? Who knows? I hope it wasn't anything sexual, but obviously we do not know. I certainly do not know. But just based upon that one video, I'm not making a lot of hay of it. So we got two more. This one is of 50 Cent. This one was really interesting. This one was a little telling to me, and it made me wonder, frankly, about P. Diddy. Again, I don't know anything, but listen, I got to tell you, the two people that come off really credible in these line of videos to me are two people in the entertainment industry. Actually, three: Cat Williams, Mace, and P. Diddy. And Mace, if you guys may recall, Mace broke away from P. Diddy and started running towards the gospel. I mean, he left the industry behind. And when Mace was with P. Diddy, frankly, I thought P. Diddy's music was way better. All right. The same thing with, Notorious B.I.G. P. Diddy was kind of the producer, but the other people made the music. And I thought the music was way better. But anyway, those people, Cat Williams, Mace, and what you're about to hear from 50 Cent, let's go ahead and roll this one, por favor, gate.
He says things, he doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity.
Oh, right.
That's the kind of stuff that when people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable. Like he said something to me one time, a long time ago, at Chris Lighty's wedding. He told me he'd take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out. No, dude, you take me. That's what a guy says to a girl.
I asked 50 about that. And he said you did the same thing to him. You asked him to take him shopping.
Yeah, I thought he needed some clothes. What? I'm a nice guy.
All right, so I don't know, that is a little awkward. That is a little awkward to me when 50 Cent has money and you have money. Like if I knew you were in need, you know what I'm saying? If you were a guy, I knew you were in need, I might say, man, I got a few extra ends. I want to hook you up. What do you need? You need some shoes. That's something I might do, for one of my boys, if I know they're in need. But you're P. Diddy and 50 Cent. That's a little awkward. So that one strikes me as a little odd too. That's why I'm like, okay, these things do send up, like, if you get the tingly feeling in the back of your neck, these ones kind of send up that feeling for me. So Mace, Cat Williams, and what we just heard from 50 Cent. And now this is apparently, I don't know who the heck Diddy is doing this in front of, but this is Diddy just butt naked swinging himself around, which is insane to me, honestly. But let's go ahead and roll it. I can't take the language. But you get it. I'm not honestly, I'm not even sure where that rap came from, but obviously it's just a rap calling out P. Diddy, and apparently people that hung out. Yeah, apparently people that hung out with him. I mean, listen, I don't know about any of these other cats. I don't know. Just because somebody hangs out with somebody doesn't mean they were involved in sex trafficking or anything like that. Now, if there's evidence, if there's video evidence, if people have if there's victims that are out there that or people that have participated in some type of sexual acts with these other guys where P. Diddy was involved or P. Diddy was around or P. Diddy orchestrated it, then those people should come and speak out. And I'm sure they were. But there does tend to, whenever you hear a bunch of people say something, it tends to add credibility to it. But again, I don't want to jump on this bandwagon until there's more evidence. Now, here's what I want to get on. Now, the title of this podcast is Democratic Distraction, or Did Diddy Do It? Now, here's the reason why I'm wondering if this is a Democratic distraction. Why is all of this happening now? I know there's these civil cases against P. Diddy, some of which may have been settled or have been settled, I believe. Others that are still apparently open. And frankly, I'm saying that because I have not followed this case closely, but apparently from what I did read, there were at least 3 or so civil cases against P. Diddy alleging some of this sexual abuse, sexual trafficking, sexual activity, or what have you. That led the Department of Homeland Security to look into and investigate, or the DOJ to look into P. Diddy and some of these claims. And obviously, if there's human sex trafficking involved, then you definitely do want to look into them. But obviously, a civil trial, some of which were settled apparently with his ex-girlfriend, I assume, was settled. And so some people will settle and walk away from it. And a lot of people might say, oh, man, they're settling, so there was nothing to it. No, it may just be that they just didn't want to go through it. Guys, going through a court hearing where you're going to be, depositioned, where you have to actually sit in the courtroom, it's not for everybody. I've done it in a criminal case, or sat for a deposition at least, if not a couple. I've done it in family court, several times. And man, it's hard when people are sitting there grilling you and you know that they want to get the best of you because they want to prove something against you. It's not for everybody. I kept up in those fights and ultimately prevailed in a couple of those cases. But nonetheless, it's not easy and it's not for everyone. And then some of those cases were brought on by my own bad behavior. If I'm being honest, that was BC. But anyway. Just because there's a plethora of people saying stuff does not mean that it's true. And also, just because someone settled a civil suit does not mean that what they're saying isn't true. And I think that brings light to that. But the reason why I talk about these Democratic distractions is, let me just read to you a couple of the headlines today. All right. Just to tie some stuff in really quick, just so that you understand exactly what I mean by that. The Democrat Party is in disarray. All right. Joe Biden is hurting in the polls. I don't know if that means he's going to lose in November or not. But if the polls remain as they are, and they were much more accurate than I thought they were initially during the primary season, if these polls remain accurate, Joe Biden is looking like he's in deep doo-doo when it comes to November. So Joe Biden is doing absolutely everything he can, in my opinion, to fortify his record, whatever it is. He wants to pretend like he's tough on crime. Let me ask you this. Would it be, if you didn't have an open border crisis, knowing that children and women were being sex trafficked as a result of your open border crisis, would you want people to see your Department of Homeland Security or your DOJ being tough on crime? Would you do it with someone that's very high profile so that your voters are sure to pay attention to it? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I got to tell you, I don't trust any of the federal government anymore. Any of it. After COVID, I trust no one. Zero, zilch, nada. After I see the treatment of J6 protesters, most of them that should have been charged with a misdemeanor, released, if even ever arrested, and some of these guys are spending 20 years behind bars, 10 years behind bars for charges that would be misdemeanors if they were Democrats and weren't supporting Trump. No, I don't trust the federal government. And I've never thought like this before. 2-3 years ago or pre-COVID, I would have never said some of the things that I'm saying now, frankly. But I simply don't trust any of our government institutions, especially with the left running them. I don't trust academia with the left running them. So, again, let me just read you some of the headlines, and I'll get to the cargo ship later. Actually, we're going to do a separate podcast for that. Let me see here. I'm sorry. I'm just scrolling through my formerly fingerprinted fingertips. Let me just give you some of the criminal type headlines and some of the bigger stories that are hitting. So if I wanted to distract from my record as a Democrat, if I'm Joe Biden, here's some of the things that I would focus on P. Diddy and being tough on crime. Instead of this story, for example, New York City begins handing out prepaid cards to illegals. So you're going to give illegal aliens prepaid cards worth about $1,400 a month that New York citizens are paying for, when one of the number one issues right now that are actually the number one issue that people are disturbed about is the open borders crisis, right? And that's going across party lines. Whether you're an independent, whether you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, you're now concerned about illegal immigration. So perhaps you don't want people to know that you're handing out $1,400 worth of free money to illegal aliens that broke into our country. So perhaps you don't want people to know about that. Perhaps you don't want people to know that illegal immigrant children are flooding New York City schools, forcing special needs students out of classrooms. So perhaps what you might do is make sure that there's a big story that hits as these stories are hitting, so that you don't hear about these stories. So a massive influx, according to Town Hall, of illegal immigrant children in Manhattan schools may push a school for children with disabilities and special needs out of an academic building and into an inadequate site. The school, West Prep Academy, reportedly serves 170 students, which mainly include children with special needs. So perhaps you don't want people to hear that news story. So perhaps it will be a good time to make sure there's a big case that breaks in front of the entire public. Maybe you don't want to hear this case, or maybe Joe Biden doesn't want you to hear about this case from the New York Post. Illegal immigrant murders 25-year-old girl in carjacking attempt. Oh man, just after we had Laken Riley murdered a few weeks ago at the University of Georgia by an illegal alien, you mean to tell me another illegal alien from Mexico has been accused? That one was from, I believe, Guatemala or Venezuela, I believe it was, the dude that killed Laken Riley. But an illegal alien from Mexico has been accused of killing a 25-year-old Michigan woman in a drunken carjacking attempt and is awaiting arraignment on an open murder charge, although Michigan State Police have not released information about a suspect in custody. He was identified as Brandon Ortiz Vite, a 25-year-old illegal immigrant from Puebla, Mexico. He is expected to be arraigned on charges of homicide, open murder, carjacking, felony firearm, illegally carrying a concealed weapon, operating while intoxicating, and driving on a suspended or revoked license. So maybe when people are outraged about illegal immigration, you don't want them to hear about that. Maybe when people are outraged about the crime that they see occurring in Democratic cities, like, I don't know, NYPD officer shot and killed by career criminal with 21 prior arrests. Even Mayor Eric Adams sounded off on this, but a 31-year-old New York Police Department officer was shot and killed by a career criminal during a traffic stop in Queens on Monday evening in a senseless act of violence, quote unquote. Officials and law enforcement said Officer Jonathan Diller, he's a married father, 1-year-old boy who now does not have his father, was shot in the stomach after police tried to remove the suspect, identified by sources as 34-year-old Guy Rivera. All right, so maybe, just maybe, is this a Democratic distraction? Or did P. Diddy do it? Maybe it's both. Let me talk about some of the problems that I have with this story. Even though if P. Diddy did do it, if he is involved in sex trafficking, I don't care if he gets his thing cut off. I really don't. I really do not. I can't stand sex traffickers. I think they should be shot in the head. That's just the way that I feel. I'm going to offend some of you. I don't care. I feel like you remember what the Russians did to some of those terrorists and I know, listen, I know there's a Russia-Ukraine war. I know we're supposed to hate our Russians. I know we're not supposed to, if we say, oh, or cheer for the Russians, when it comes to what they did to those Islamic terrorists, we're cheering for them, because the way in which they cheer Ukraine or have killed Ukrainians and tortured some Ukrainians. No, I think we can all be more nuanced than that. When it comes to Islamic terrorists, I frankly don't care. You got people that, murdered 140 people just randomly. I really don't care that the Russian soldiers caught one, chopped off an ear and made one guy eat it, or that they tied electric. I don't like torture, but that it isn't the United States, it's Russia. So if you were dumb enough to go shoot up a place in Russia and not blow yourself up afterwards, or blow your brains out, well, you get what you deserve. But let me just read this, and then I'm going to finish. I'll wrap this up. This is from Daily Wire. This is a response from P. Diddy's legal team, or Sean Combs' legal team. An attorney for rapper Sean Diddy Combs responded to the federal government's raid on two of his clients' homes this week by claiming that the government used too much force, quote unquote. I want you to notice a pattern in this response that does have me concerned, but I'll tell you why I'm concerned overall about this type of display, especially that happens on the news, of someone like a P. Diddy being or his properties going after in this sense. All right, agents with the Department of Homeland Security descended upon Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami on Monday as part of a federal criminal investigation into allegations related to sex trafficking, sexual assault, and the solicitation and distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms, according to NBC News. So again, the allegations were related to sex trafficking, sexual assault, and the solicitation and distribution of illegal drugs and firearms or narcotics. This is what his attorney had to say, and I quote, "Yesterday, there was a gross overuse of military-level force as search warrants were executed at Mr. Combs' residences." This, according to his attorney, Aaron Dyer. He says, quote, "There's no excuse for the excessive show of force and hostility exhibited by authorities or the way his children and employees were treated. Mr. Combs was never detained, but spoke to and cooperated with authorities. Despite media speculation, neither Mr. Combs nor any of his family members have been arrested, nor has their ability to travel been restricted in any way." Close quote. All right. Dyer called the raid an unprecedented ambush, quote unquote, even though federal law enforcement routinely conducts raids with a show of force, and lambasted what he claimed was a, quote, an advanced coordinated media presence, close quote, that he says has led the public to make premature judgments about his client. So let me say this. All right. It isn't unprecedented. We've watched this happen with people that are associated with former President Donald Trump. We've watched the Mar-a-Lago raid. We watch, some of Donald Trump's, and their names escape me right now. We've watched some of their close associates. We've seen people, pro-lifers, whose homes have been raided by the FBI, like they were some type of, serious threat to law enforcement or to the United States of America. So frankly, Mr. Attorney, this isn't unprecedented. If you had been paying attention, you would see that this type of treatment has been done to conservatives since Joe Biden has been in office, at least. Which brings me to this point. I'm concerned about this. Are the FBI normalizing excessive force? That's a concern of mine. If the FBI is normalizing excessive force, or are they trying to be excessive so they can pretend like what they're doing to Trump and his associates is normal? You feel me? Just let that sink in. Here's a problem what I have with, I don't care who's involved. I don't care if it was Casey Anthony back in the day. I don't care if it was, I remember that story. It broke while I was in for Larry Elder at the time before it became Officer Tatum's show, where the young couple in Utah, the boy ended up killing, I think they were right here from Florida. The boy ended up killing his girlfriend out while they were out hiking somewhere in Utah. It became a big national story because she couldn't be found. Eventually, they found his body somewhere in swamp territory where he had blown his brains out and admitted, or I believe he wrote a note doing it. I don't like any of these high profile cases that are played out like this. And I'll tell you why, because you'll never get a fair trial. He'll never get a fair trial. And that's what our Constitution allows. If Diddy is guilty, the court system, with evidence, with witnesses, with prosecution, prosecutors should find him guilty in a court of law with a jury of his peers, or find him innocent by a jury of his peers. What I don't like are cases like this played out in public, because it dilutes our justice system. It actually hurts our justice system, because everybody believes that criminal cases should be played out in the public, and that destroys our justice system. So Diddy, even if he is guilty, if he's not, if he does go to trial, he will never have a fair trial because of everything that's been placed out there. And everybody should be concerned about that, even if you're absolutely disgusted with the guy. One thing I do like, I will say this is a good thing. This is a consequence of this. Some good things do happen. There's some people, if this story is true, that are running scared, that probably should run scared, and it'll force standards on them that they simply don't have. See, I don't expect non-believers to act like believers, but even amongst non-believers, even amongst secularists, if you're sex trafficking children or women, I don't care if they smoke you. I don't. And if that means some people are pooping in their pants right now because P. Diddy may be taken down, and their association with him, or they participated in crimes, if they did in fact occur, they'll be taken down too. That's a good thing, because people will look from the outside that maybe participated or wanted to participate or hang out with P. Diddy or people like P. Diddy, and this will make them pause. Man, Hollywood is full of disgusting people. The entertainment industry is full of disgusting people. So this story wouldn't surprise me. I don't want to see it played out in the public. And I do wonder if, in part, it's a Democratic distraction. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Do not forget to support my friends at MyPillow. I can't do this without their help. I can't do it without your help. And that's sharing the podcast as well. All right, you can go to mypillow.com. Again, click on that radio podcast square, enter my name, Carl, or give them a call, 800-858-0263. 800-858-0263. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.